Now I'm changing, if you like, the tone slightly. I'm going to tell you a different story about going to Quinnipiac University in the US with a Ken Saro-Wiwa exhibition. And when we took the archive from Sister Magella, one of the things she talked about, and it came up in the letters from Ken Saro-Wiwa, was the concept or the idea of ringing the Ogoni bells. So we like that as something to keep going back to. How are we doing on ringing the Ogoni bells? And we do it through the audio archive, through publishing, and also through exhibitions here, and in this case in the United States. So it was a wonderful privilege. So I decided to put in this Bobcat because any of you maybe who've been to American universities are hugely into mascots. I didn't know about this, and the Bobcat is Quinnipiac's. And Quinnipiac is the name of an American Indian ethnic group who are no longer, it's been wiped out. And sadly, when I was talking to people at the university, apart from the name, there's no further traces of the people. It's in Connecticut. It is a private university, as most, or a lot of American universities are. Yale is also in Connecticut, so Yale is the thirdly well-known, prestigious university. But Quinnipiac would have student fees of around $40,000 a year, so very different landscape for education to Ireland. There are also state universities in Connecticut as well. It has 6,500 undergraduates, 2,000 postgraduates, and in 2015 it signed an agreement with Maynooth University, which mostly relates to student exchanges, staff exchanges and cooperation. And part of its the areas that they were going to focus somewhat on were the emerging area of Irish studies at Quinnipiac, and also the Great Hunger Museum, which they've established there. So some library staff from Quinnipiac came to Maynooth in June of this year, and myself, Colin Macaulay, and 2 other librarians from here made a return visit in October. And just to show you the campuses we saw, we were brought to these various locations at Quinnipiac University, so very modern and beautiful buildings. And 3 different libraries. The General Library, which is the Arnold Bernard Library, and one of the things we noticed in the States is people give a lot of money, and philanthropy is very important, and so this man endowed money. Edward and Barbara Netter Health Sciences Library. Netter was somebody who did medical illustrations. If you've ever been in a medical library, you will have seen a lot of them, but I never knew there were Netter illustrations before. And this beautiful law library. So they were wonderful to see. And you can see here, just some of the nice, this is the main one that we were in. One of the things we were struck by was there weren't that many students there, but apparently students have very class-intensive schedules, so during the daytime they're not that much in the library, and the library is open 24/7, so probably would come back at night time. It looks dark there, but it wasn't. I just took this because throughout the library they have things like chess, jigsaws, Scrabble, etc. on tables. So if you want to relax for half an hour, you don't have to go out somewhere. You could make a jigsaw in the library. So nice concept. Now, Hugh, who travelled with me, we brought a number of items from the archive. We didn't bring original letters, but our archivists can make copies of these that are of such a high standard that people aren't even aware that they're not originals. Obviously, the library staff understood that. And then this one on the front of the banner on the front, our conservator Louise Walsworth Bell prepared this one with the black writing on it. That's the back of the t-shirt, Magella, that you gave us. It's a Moss-up t-shirt, and we liked being able to take this on that sort of paper and put it up in the library. And then this is us setting up. The banners are still there, and there's a third one there, and they'll be there until certainly the end of January, whatever. And as I say, even when you look at that, you can see the letters we were putting out, the photographs we were putting out, etc. That is the librarian, and that's just another area in the library where they did a display of books by Ken Saro-Wiwa, and these are all available for people to borrow, so it's good they actually bought a lot of material for this exhibition. That's our librarian, Colin Macaulay, with the president of Quinnipiac University, who is John, they call it Leahy, we call it Leahy, who's of Irish, and has Irish ancestry, and the librarian Robert Jovan. And it was wonderful that the president actually and the vice president came to the exhibition, and that, you know, showed how much they thought of it. And I should say we offered 3 exhibitions when we started talking about this, and 2 of them were Irish. Teresa Deavy, an Irish playwright, and Pierce Hutchinson, well, he's Irish and Scottish. And I thought they would surely go for an Irish one because of all the Irish connections, but they said we would like this one, and we were delighted with that they went for something that seemed a bit different really from what we usually do. And the exhibition was a little bit different too, in that I thought, you know, when it was opening I might say a few words, something, whatever, but Robert said to me, no, you just stay there and people will keep coming, and you'll bring them around and talk to them, each group as they come. So that was absolutely fine, and I did that, and as you know, there were lots of different groups over an hour, and then in a separate area there was a reception, which I did get to eventually, and the president, as I say, the deputy president, who subsequently visited Maynooth, they all came to it, and it's up for until the end of January there. And to mark getting this exhibition, the staff at Quinnipiac created what's called a library guide, and I'm going to try and go to it live now. So these library guides are wonderful. Let's see now. I just copy this. I think that's going to work. Just give me a second, sorry about this, please. Yeah. And these are electronic guides. We're doing them here in the library as well. That's a great way of having almost like a mini exhibition. This is it live. So they created, this is the home page, and they're telling you about all their university staff, and indeed anybody, it's open access, can now find out about this exhibition. They've linked to the audio archive, which I won't show. The video that they picked is a video of that's available on YouTube telling the story. Then our collection is the material, and it's nice to see Silence Would Be Treason up there, that they've bought for this exhibition, so people can read more on Saro-Wiwa. And they're also linking to what's called the Digital Repository of Ireland, where the letters are deposited. So the letters, they can access them there. So that's really good, and we'll be suggesting some material to them to add to that as well. So a great way. There's aspects of this, you know, there's the physical collaboration, you bring the material, but like we can create a guide with them, us doing half of it on our side of the world, and you know, they're doing more of it. So that's all I'm going to say about that. It was a wonderful visit, and we're delighted that that exhibition is in Quinnipiac University, and it certainly will help spread the Ogoni story. And that brings us very nicely to 2:30. So we're going to wrap up now, but has anybody got any questions for any of the speakers now that we had this morning?